Logbook entry 0019, Call of the Wild. Flight type, off-duty adventure. Aircraft, STI. Crew, Captain George, Chief Mischief Maker, barefoot by intent. First Officer Sharron, former redhead, then blonde, now officially a brunette bombshell. Special guest, Pete, wingman, aerial anarchist, and the only man we know who flies under bridges. Inverted route. Friday Harbor, KFHR. Scenic detour via Vancouver. Golden Sky Bridge flyby. Bush landing near a remote lakeside valley in Golden, BC. Weekend base camp, hammock games, flannel nights, and reckless altitude therapy. Overview. After touching down in Anchorage with a freshly repaired A320 and logging the final miles of our Hawaiian AOG saga, we did what any rational bush pilots would do with a weekend off and nothing on the flight plan. We went feral. The call came from Pete. Wheels up from Friday Harbor, bring your sense of humor, and leave your IFR charts behind. Say less. We launched from KFHR, chased the coast past Vancouver, gave an eyebrow-raising wave to customs. You know the one. Then followed rivers and ridgelines straight toward the Golden Sky Bridge. That's where Pete pulled his signature party trick. Inverted pass under the span, just tight enough to make everyone involved reevaluate their life insurance. He nailed it. Again. Landing? Improvised. One wheel in the grass, one in gravel, and the Kit Fox kissed down like it owned the valley. Camp was set. 0 signal, 0 interruptions, and maximum sky. And then there's Sharron. Somewhere between ditching the Airbus and dodging Pete's prop wash, she made a choice. Not for the crew, not for the camera, for herself. I've been red, I've been blonde, but the world's too wild right now to be anything but bold. And this flicks her raven la me that can handle it. It wasn't a dye job. It was a declaration of altitude, of attitude, of freedom. The Velvet Vortex now flies dark and dangerous, still sparkly, just under a stealthier wing. Sharron, Segment 1, Departure and Dark Hair Day. You ever feel a shift coming? Right behind your ribcage? That was me the second I saw Pete's Kit Fox waiting at Friday Harbor, nose gleaming like it knew secrets. I was barefoot in my mind before George even said cleared to taxi. This wasn't just another hop. Not this time. No passengers. No plan. Just a whisper of altitude and a wild heart screaming, go. And yes, the hair. I see you looking. I used to be fire, then sunshine. But now I'm me without the warning label. Bold. Black. No disguise. No apologies. George gave me one of those nods, the I feel it too kind. Pete was already airborne. Altitude set. Attitude loaded. Let's roll. Segment 2, Bridge of Intentions. Ever feel like the view's staring back at you? That was this bridge. Golden Sky Bridge, British Columbia. Wrapped in mist and daring silence, George tried to get Pete to walk it. Pete, I fly under them. I don't walk across them. Classic. I didn't say much. Didn't have to. For once, I just stood and felt more me than I had in months. Not a uniform. Not a flirt. Just wind and wonder and 1,000 feet of untamed altitude under my smile. Segment 3. The edge of everything. I've banked past ridgelines and flirted with mountaintops. But this was something else. Steel beneath my fingers, wind in my ponytail, and mountains that couldn't care less who I was. And for once, I liked feeling small. I let go of things. Not dramatically. Quietly. Control. Expectations. Hair dye. Somewhere below, George was watching from the Kit Fox. Me? I was just letting the world get big again. And it felt good. Segment 4, 0 feet on the ground. Okay, yes, technically, this wasn't a brilliant idea. Barefoot, 1 foot on each side of a suspension bridge. George was yelling helpful things like, that's not a rated platform. Pete took a photo, probably framed it. Me, tongue out, arms wide. Altitude out of attitude. For one moment, I wasn't Sharron the co-pilot. I was just a girl in the wind. Segment 5. What kind of madman builds this? How do you build something like that? I asked George. One crazy person and 1,000 feet of steel-coated optimism. Perfect answer. This mountain platform wasn't practical. It was permission. To leap, to scream, to let your burdens tumble off the edge without so much as a goodbye. Architecture doesn't have to make sense. Sometimes it just needs to set you free. Segment 6. Bridges don't go backwards. It's weird getting emotional at a bridge, but this wasn't a bridge to nowhere. It was a bridge to next. Bridges aren't just crossings, they're decisions. I stood there, caught between who I'd been and who I was becoming. Toes grounded, heart airborne. Bridges don't go backwards, and neither do I. Segment 7, trade-off or altitude for airspeed. Taking off from a ledge, not a runway, not even a dirt strip. A ledge. George, we'll just trade some altitude for airspeed. Oh, sure, let's barter with gravity like it takes Venmo. I had 2 options. 1, panic. 2, stick out my tongue and trust physics. I chose chaos, and the KitFox soared. Sometimes you need trust, a cliff, and a co-pilot with no brake pedal. Segment 8, the Golden Descent, sunset, 0-star runway, 5-star view. The field wasn't a runway, it was a welcome mat for our KitFox. The lake glowed orange, the air was campfire ready, and we didn't just land, we arrived. Not at a location, at a mood, peace, unplugged freedom, and maybe the best landing I've never logged. Segment 9, barefoot, tied down, and perfectly free. The plane? Parked. Me? Knee-deep in magic. Deadlines and headset hair? Gone. All left upwind the moment we touched down. I shed the boots. Let the lake remember me. And in the quiet, barefoot, and camp-ready, I realized I was finally where I needed to be. Segment 10, hammock aerobatics, the recheck. So, about that hammock. Let's just say I attempted a bold solo entry. Result? Nylon chaos. 0 points for form. George looked up, eyebrow raised. Logging that one under solo flight? Yes. Yes, I am. Pete? Long gone. Probably sipping lattes and denying all knowledge. Segment 11. Chair qualified. After the hammock incident, I declared a grounding. Now it's just me, a sturdy chair, and George brewing coffee by Jetboil. My pride's a little bruised, but the fire crackles and my chair doesn't invert mid-sentence. Progress, people. Oh, and Pete? Still ghosting us. Can't blame him. Segment 12. Tent talk and morning regrets. There's a kind of magic that only shows up through a tent flap at sunrise. Coffee in the air, campfire in your hair, reflecting on yesterday's graceful moments. I've concluded I might have had more control standing on the bridge rails than in that hammock.